make sure that we create more good jobs with rising incomes. I particularly want to pay attention to our cities like Baltimore. I have put forward a very comprehensive agenda about how we're going to make these investments, grow these businesses and jobs. And I appreciate that Congressman Cummings mentioned the two most recent Democratic presidents. I know both of them. And you know, it is a fact. Our economy does better when we have a Democrat in the White House. So what I think we need to be doing is what works, right? Just a very brief overview. When my husband was there for 8 years, we ended up with 23 million new jobs, and incomes rose for everyone, not just people at the top. Middle-class families, working families, poor families. The median family income went up 17%, and the median family income for African Americans went up 33% in those 8 years. More people were lifted out of poverty, and we ended up, as the congressman said, with a balanced budget, a surplus, and making sure we were on the right track, the right road. So what happened? Well, what happened is, unfortunately, the Supreme Court installed a new president, and it turned out he was a Republican. Now, I don't want to speak ill of anybody. I'll leave that to all the other candidates, but I think we have a good comparison, because sandwiched between Bill Clinton and Barack Obama was George W. Bush. And what happened? Well, taxes were slashed for the wealthiest. The regulators just turned a blind eye to the finance markets and the mortgage markets, and we know what happened. The worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. And that was done on their watch. I want people to remember that, because they're coming back with the same snake oil economic policies. In fact, right after he was elected in 2008, President-elect Obama called and asked me to come see him in Chicago. I didn't know why. It turned out he wanted me to be Secretary of State. But before we got to that, he said to me, "It is so much worse than they told us." And it was. We were losing 800,000 jobs a month, right? 9 million Americans lost their jobs. 5 million families lost their homes. And $13 trillion in family wealth was wiped out. Now, I don't think President Obama gets the credit he deserves for digging us out of the hole that the Republicans locked us into. And it just makes me shake my head and wonder when I hear these Republican candidates talking about going back to trickle-down economics, slashing taxes on the wealthy, claiming that everything that happened to us was because Wall Street was too regulated instead of not regulated enough. And they all make the same claim. They say, well, this is a very slow recovery. Well, we've had 73 months of job growth, right? And it does take a certain amount of nerve even to say that, since we would not have needed a recovery if their terrible economic policies hadn't ended us in the ditch in the first place. So here's what I believe. I believe we need to build on the progress that we have made under President Obama. We need to look for every way possible to create new jobs. We need to be focusing on how we can bring investment to places that need it. As president, I have said I will lay out a comprehensive jobs agenda And I will focus particularly on communities, neighborhoods, regions that have been passed by. So as part of my plan, I will direct hundreds of billions of dollars in new investments to places like West and East Baltimore, including $20 billion aimed specifically at helping to create jobs for young people. And we're going to work together to put in more transportation options so that people in cities can get to the jobs at where they are. I think the Red Line here in Baltimore should have been completed. We're also going to support home ownership. Because when I said $13 trillion in family wealth was wiped out, that was mostly people losing their homes or losing value in their homes. Home ownership is still one of the goals that so many hardworking families have. And we need to put it within grasp again. So I think if we go at this the way we did in the 90s, the way that President Obama has once he took control of our government, we can go even further. We need more jobs in infrastructure, like building a red line, our bridges, our roads, our tunnels, our ports, our airports. We also need to do more on our water systems. We have learned that too many of our water systems are contaminated by lead and other dangerous pollutants. We need to finish providing affordable internet connectivity across America. Inner cities, rural areas, everybody should be connected. We need to work more on bringing back advanced manufacturing. Make it in America again. And the way we can do that is by changing the tax incentives that now actually give benefits to people who are exporting jobs, and instead give the incentives to people who want to start jobs right here in Baltimore and across America. That's why I really like this development that we're in. This development, the City Garage, which Under Armour has developed, is not only for Under Armour, it's for other businesses. And one of the Under Armour executives was saying they're going to try to recruit businesses, try to convince businesses to stay in Baltimore and not move anywhere else. I also believe the best way to combat climate change is through clean, renewable energy jobs. It does two things. So what I've laid out is a plan that will create jobs in America as we transition from fossil fuels to clean, renewable energy. And I've set two big goals. I want us to deploy 500 million more solar panels by the end of my first term, and enough clean energy to power every home in America by the end of my second term.